Okay, so in this part we are going to start making our low polygon mesh to use this character in game. So the first thing we have to do is export some parts of the character to the program, and this program is called Topogun. We will be using this program to make our low geometry model. So we will be now exporting almost complete character to the Topogun and use this model as a reference for making our low geometry model. So in this case we don't need too much details on our model. We just want to have all proportions and all major details on our reference geometry. So I'm selecting just some parts of the character and I'm trying to go to lower subdivision level, and as soon as I will do this process, we will then merge all parts together and export it to the Topogun. So as you see, for example, these jeans, we have still folds on these jeans, but we don't have too much details, and our mesh is something around 70,000 points or polygons. So it's still pretty not heavy, and we have to keep this in mind because we can't just export a 6 million character to Topogun because it will just kill our program and our process of making low mesh will be really difficult. So we have to decrease this number of polygons a little bit, so we are setting our subdivision level a little bit lower. As you see right now on the hairs, we just want to have all major shapes, but we don't want these little hair details. So something like this is good enough, I think. We've got something around 15 or right now 60, and I'm switching this a little bit, but something around 60,000 polygons it's okay. And right now we are decreasing our subdivision level on these boots. So the Topogun will be still a little bit laggy because this program, I think, is not very fast, but as decreasing level of our polygons, we will be able to work a little bit faster. And one thing I want to tell you right now is that we will be skipping belt and this toolbag in this part at the beginning because we don't need these parts at this stage. I want to make lower geometry right now without our belt and toolbag because we will be making them separately right after doing a whole character. Then we will be exporting separate belt and separate toolbag to the Topogun, and we will be creating this lower mesh for them. And of course everything we will merge together in Maya later. So I turned off this toolbag right now. And I will probably turn off our belt. And little details like this, we don't need them at this stage. And also these little details that hold our bed on its place, we will skip them also. Okay, I'm just looking for some parts. Yeah, and this little jeans parts. Yeah, and this is our mesh that we will be exporting to Topogun right now. So in Merge tab, I click Merge Visible, and Zbrush has created a completely new tool with our model. I've just I've just wanted to add a default material to it. And a little bit lighter, I think. And this is our mesh that we will use in Topogun. So right now, export. And this will be our reference in Topogun that we will use to create our new geometry. And as I said in movies before, our mesh will be something around from 10 to 15,000 triangles. So right now we are in Topogun. The navigation in the program is same as it's in Maya. So if someone is using Maya like me, it's very comfortable to use. And we just click load reference, and we are looking for our mesh right now, reference to Topogun, and we have our reference set up. So and I'm right now checking the model and seeing how it works, if it's not too heavy to work with it. It was something around 250,000 polygons, so I think it's good to work. So you've got few tools on the left side, and the first one is to select your polygons and vertices and edges, and the second one that we are using right now is to add and create geometry. So as you see, using it is very simple. How to use it you can I think see on YouTube or on the website of the Topogun, and they have some tutorials to how to navigate in the program and how to use it. We will focus right now on the process that we have to make in order to have our geometry good and to use it in game engine. So right now we are starting from recreating our face part. So I think in this series I will create a full face, and then we will move to another parts, like for example jeans and boots, to show you how I'm creating it. Okay, so I've speed this video a little bit to not waste our time for watching this in real time, because it's a really slow process sometimes. So right now you see we are creating our nose. And in this process it's really necessary to know the polygon topology, polygon flow. You have to learn this before doing this correctly. Everything should work with the animation, so certain flow of the geometry should be kept. So you see we are starting from this little nose, and this is the standard beginning when I'm making character. Even when I'm starting a character in Maya from scratch, I'm starting from nose. Right now we are moving to our eye. So, and you have to think about how much geometry you wanna put to your character. What are your limits? Maybe this character should have a little less geometry, so you have to think how to create this mesh correctly with certain amount of polygons. We have, our limit is pretty high, so we can just do it a little with some freedom, so we don't have to really worry about making too many polygons. But of course, right after this process, while having all the parts in Maya, we will be optimizing some parts, because there is no point sometimes having edge loops and too much polygons while the effect is pretty good when you just don't have these polygons. So we are working right now around our eye. And you have to keep this in mind, that if your eyes will be moving, you just have to do enough geometry around eyelids to support this geometry. And of course, if you have other facial animation, you have to keep a certain amount of polygons in these areas that are critical. And as you see, we are making just a half of the face. You've got, of course, in Topogun options for symmetry, and you can do this with symmetry turn on, but I don't use these options because they make Topogun a little bit laggy on my computer, so I'm just starting with making half of the face, and I will be doing this, of course, for other parts like shirt and hand and jeans. So I'm making only a half of the model, and then in my eye I just mirrored these parts and merge them together in Maya, clean up if it's necessary a little bit, and that's it. So I try to keep this middle face really in the middle of the character. So still working around our eye, and that is even if when video is speed up a little bit, it's long process and slow. Topogun is not very fast program, and it's a little bit laggy sometimes, especially if your geometry is growing. So sometimes a good idea is to split your model to parts, and I'm doing this also in this tutorial. I'm making face separately, and I'm bringing it to the Maya. Then I'm making other parts like shirt separate, of course, then genes separate everything I save in separate files to not lost my Topogun files. And all parts then I merge in Maya. So I'm using this second tool with option make face. It speeds up a little bit our workflow. It automatically creates a face while clicking in certain points. With this option turned off, it's a little bit longer process. And also we've got statistics in Topogun, and you can see how many vertex and edges and faces you've got already on this model, and you have to remember that this is only the half of your object. So this process is a little bit faster when we don't have any details, like right now. With just few clicks we've got pretty big part of the model covered with new mesh. So right now creating our forehead. And right now we are trying to cover our mustache. So we've already have some part of our face done. So we are moving. So we have almost finished our mustache. Just few changes to the topology of our mesh. And check, of course, our geometry from different sides. From different perspective. So right now I'm saving this as another file, and I've deleted this part with face. And now we are moving to create our boot. We don't have too much details in here, so I think it's pretty fast process. So we will just start this boot, and you will see it finished in next movie, because as you see it's pretty boring process right now. You know already how to do this, so there is no point of watching it all over and over. So I think see you in next movie.